So, good afternoon. It's Esther Pasidis here. My brand is Energy Transformations, and I'm interviewing, or rather having a lovely live chat with my friend, Dr. Shelley Negelow, from America.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. So this is our third installment in the series, The Illusions of Humans. And I thought, what better subject than to pick the illusion of failure. And many of us, myself included, have had that sort of stigma. We've either adopted it as our own mantle, or it's been put upon us. And particularly in the Western Hemisphere, we have this negative, it has a negative connotation. And we seem to perpetuate that because there's a lot of stories, underlying stories around failure that are illusions. So I'll hand over to Shelley, my friend, because why is failure an illusion?
You know, we build these illusions from the very beginning of life when we're on the planet. And they're our perceptions or our filters through which we live our lives. We've talked about this a couple of times now. And failure is simply what hasn't worked versus there's something wrong with me or there's something wrong with the situation. You know, we can use it as a powerful moving forward rather than it's a dilemma. You know, it's okay that we have things that don't work. Many times we think that it's a problem or there's something wrong or we're not good enough or something is wrong with our physical world. Rather than having it give us input of what isn't working so that we can move forward with what we really want to manifest.
Yeah.
And most of us don't do it that way. Most of us say, oh my gosh, there's something wrong. And then you stop moving forward with what you really want to create. You stop yourself. And haven't we all done that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's learning to distinguish also, because think back, I cast my mind back to when I thought was a really big failure. We started a coffee shop business, my husband and I, in 2010. And in the first 2 years, we did really, really well. We got several local regional awards. And then for some reason, that wasn't enough for my husband. And he decided, oh, do you know what? I mean, we're too good for this place. Let's go and look at a bigger place, a capital city in Wales. And then he diverted his energy, his attention to that, because he was also seeing that what we had was not enough. Therein lies an answer to the problem why we have these failures, because we're always seeing that there's some deficiency. So we're always, and then also expecting. So there's a sense of expectation of almost like we trip ourselves up. I know that when we sort of branched out, many people said, oh, it'd be great success. And then there was this sort of apprehension a little bit because it was big bucks this time, bigger investment, spent a lot of money on refurbishing a shop and changing it to adapt to our usage. And then, what happened? Because the energy wasn't in the right place. The energy wasn't really in alignment. I didn't feel like I was coming from an authentic place, because I was like, and also it was like from this resistance mode, because I was like resisting the extra burden on me. I was trying to do the marketing. I was trying to do all the baking for both businesses. I was managing this payroll. It was just a crushing weight on me. And then I had this sort of idea that this is too much. And obviously there's that resistance in the energy. And my husband sort of said, oh, I don't think this. They started worrying about it because he said that people aren't showing. It's really quiet. The weather turned on us. My mother-in-law turned ill in Greece, and he had to fly out there quickly at the 11th hour to sort of rescue her, as it were. He brought her back here for nursing care. And then she was sent back to Greece because we couldn't look after her, because we still had the two businesses. And it wasn't supposed to be that way. So I had that sense of disappointment and failure, because we were supposed to sell one before we started the other one, but he was so confident we would have a very profitable business, second business, and that we eventually would sell the first business. But as it turned out, we sold the second business first, and then eventually I decided I didn't want to carry on after losing my mother, and we sold then the original business. So it's like all this idea of yeah, the all that goes around, the sense of failure. And I always came away from that feeling that I was less than. And it's not, failure is not a sign of that we are deficient in any way or that we're not good enough. But it's also an indication that perhaps our focus and attention wasn't in the right place. Or maybe you want to say something on that.
Well, and you know what you said in the very beginning is that you never felt that it never really felt right for you.
The second one, yes, I know
Yes,
deep
didn't
down.
feel
Yeah,
right. It was you
yeah,
were
I was ignoring
apprehensive.
my intuition. Yeah.
So the thing that I want to point out to everyone in the audience is that when you start to make choices and you move forward, how does it feel inside? Now you can be uncomfortable moving forward. That's okay. But sometimes you get inner signals that let you know that perhaps something is not harmonious with what you want to really manifest for your life. And sometimes we ignore those signals. I certainly have many, many times in my life and just move forward. And then I wound up getting myself into all kinds of crazy circumstances that got way out of hand simply because I hadn't honored what was so for me to begin with and what was harmonious for my life. And don't we all do that? You know, we start to jump into a business or a relationship or something that we're wanting to create, and yet it doesn't feel right. Well, if it doesn't feel right, perhaps there is something there for you to notice rather than just jumping in and then, later on, you feel like you're a failure because it didn't work out. Now, it's okay to have your fears and your discomforts. It's okay to have your fears and discomforts and moving forward with what you want to create. I mean, that's part of living life. But there's a difference between having your fears and then also having really, 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 really strong feelings that something is really off here. And learning how to discern that is part of our challenge of being human. Esther and I were speaking earlier before we got on here, and I was telling her that when I was a child, the thing that my mother particularly said all the time is that we never had any money. And as a child, I certainly had food in my stomach. I had a lovely roof over my head. I had clothes on my back. I had all the basic things that are needed to have a life, and had friends and had a lovely school system. All of that was great. But if my mother hadn't told me that there was never any money, I wouldn't have realized it because my basic needs were taken care of. And that's true for most people. Now, what that did was I wound up having an illusion of life that no matter what I had, whether I had a lot of money or not, there was never enough, that there was a scarcity thing going on. And that was from my early beginnings as a human being. So we all have these imprints or these illusions, whether based in reality or not, that through which we live our lives that keep us from really creating what we want. And it's not true. It really isn't true. Now, have we had circumstances? Of course we have had them. And of course we have them now. But who we are is not our circumstances. And the illusion of failure, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Simply
because
what
we
works.
identify with it, don't we, as persons rather than it was a set of events or whatever. It's our reaction, isn't it?
It's our reaction.
It's our
It's our
reaction.
automatic survival reaction to
Mm.
whatever that deeply held experience, whether perceived or real,
Real. Mm.
that through which we live, through those filters of our lives,
Mm.
our perceptions.
Yeah.
And when you can begin to notice that it's not real, that it's really not so, or that you do have the power to manifest what you want because actually you do, and not to let anything stop you, now you have a true handle on your true power as a person,
Mm.
and you can create really what you want. Now, some things, are they harmonious with what you really want to have? Yeah, maybe. Or maybe they're not. And that's for you to learn to discern.
Mm. Yeah. It's all about the
Like
choices.
if someone says, well, I want to jump out of an airplane. Well, that's a lovely idea, but is that really what serves you in manifesting what you want in your life?
Yeah.
So for me, I like to be grounded in the world, so that doesn't serve me. Some people love that. Not for me, though.
Adrenaline junkies.
Or hanging from a cliff on a mountain.
Yeah,
Okay, good
absolutely
for
from it.
you. I'm glad you have that strength and that desire. That's not for me. I still want to be grounded in the world to support people in my way.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm being silly, but you understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, sure, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
making choices is what
So,
I'm talking about.
I suppose, how can we help others in a way to see through the mirage of failure, as it were, or through the turn aside from what they see as evidence of failure, what they perceive to be evidence of failure, to connect that to, you know, the reality of who they are and how powerful they are and how they can
Oh,
manifest. Yeah.
that's just such a great uh, question and a great way of looking at things.
Mm.
I would say that it's important to, first of all, become unstoppable. What I mean by that is don't hold back on your dreams and what you really want to manifest because it hasn't shown up yet. And learn from what is not working rather than it's a problem.
Mm.
And what happens when it's a problem is that you begin to tighten up and hold yourself back because in your view something is wrong, or very often in our view something is wrong.
Yeah.
So learning how to become unstoppable means that, oh, okay, this didn't work yet, or I didn't get the result I wanted yet, so now what is needed next in my action that's going to support me in moving forward? And then take a step and move forward, and take another step, and then take another step, and take another step. When I first started to learn how to heal myself, because I came out of a very difficult family life, I didn't know what to do about it, and I was quite lost with myself. And so I kept taking a step, just as I told you about taking a step, learning to become unstoppable. And I found, although things were getting better, I still had much work to do. Did I stop? No, I kept going until I actually discovered how to heal my life, and did, and continue to open myself to my potential as a person. Become unstoppable for whatever it is that you're up for your life. And then whatever you think is a failure will disappear. It's simply, okay, that didn't work today. Now I'm going to have a new day today. Now, what am I going to create today? It's going to be moving me forward with whatever I want to have.
So
The
basic,
universe,
yeah. Sorry.
I was going to say
So basically,
universal
it's okay
energy.
to stumble. It's okay to stumble
It's
because
okay.
obviously it's showing us a bit of contrast. It's showing us where we need to really move away from something and move towards something different, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the other thing, is sometimes when we say we want to manifest something, perhaps it's not really what we want. Perhaps there's something else that leads us into a different direction. That's okay also.
Yeah.
Perhaps it opens up to a even greater idea than what we originally had in mind. That's happened to me many, 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 many times. And so I allow for that to occur as I'm moving forward with whatever I'm manifesting.
It's
And
interesting
that's
you use the word allow as well, isn't it? Because
allow.
there's a bit of surrender going on there as well.
Surrendering. Yes, stop trying to control what it is you think you have to have happen, or try to put it into a neat package. Because universal energy doesn't work that way. It's not a neat package. Simply energy moving. And now how are you going to use universal energy or your experience of God? How are you going to use that to move forward with your life and allow it to occur? But move your life with an intention to have a result.
Yeah.
Not trying to fit it into a square box or a round hole.
Yeah. So true. And
A human conundrum. Yeah.
How can we best set the intention then? So what's your practice for doing that, in terms of moving energy into physical form, according to your intention?
So intention, first of all, let's make sure people are clear that it's the step between what you're committed to, what you want to have happen. Then there is the intention, and then there's physical action. So without the intention to produce something in the world, which is a physical thinking kind of thing, then that interim step is crucial to actually having it occur in the physical world. So let's say I'm getting on a telephone call to speak to someone about my seminars and about the private work that I do to support people with their healing and their manifesting, which is what I do. Well, I always have an intention with the outcome of what I want to have happen. With every single thing that I do. So learning how to use your focused awareness to produce a result. That's what intention is. Focused awareness, focused intention to have a result occur. Now, does it mean it's going to happen that way? Not necessarily. It may open up to a whole different reality, whole different outcome than what you expected to begin with. But if you don't go in with an intention and just say, okay, well, I'm just going to see whether it's going to happen or not, and you have no intention, guess what? It's probably not going to happen. So now sometimes we don't even realize we have an intention because it's such an automatic thing. But if you start to do it on purpose, life becomes very purposeful. And then it's a whole different outcome. And I live life with purpose.
Yeah.
Even in the most challenging of times. Okay, what's my purpose today? I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I purposely do everything with an intention to have an outcome. And the same thing, let's say, in business, because I know you're in the business of supporting people in a particular manner, Esther. For those of us who are coaches and healers and teachers of some kind. So what's our intention today to reach someone? What's our intention today to give a message to someone? What is our intention today? Because out of that, the money is always there, by the way. If we focus on, oh my God, I have to make the money, without the intention of what is it that we're of service? Because out of that grace, out of that expression of love, money is always there. And it doesn't look that way. Now, do you have to do things in the physical world for that to happen? Of course you do.
Mm.
But if you do it with intention, then things start to open up with ease. Always.
Mm.
Because that's the nature of our physical world. Except when we're stuck in our circumstances, we don't realize it. The circumstances become the great illusion of what we have to overcome in order to have a life.
Mm.
Now, what's your intention?
Mm.
What do you really want to manifest? And from there, life starts to open up like a flower.
And again, it comes back down to the soul-based intention, isn't it? How you want to serve and magnify. Yeah.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be, of course,
Love.
teaching and healing like you and I do.
Yeah.
It can be anything because, we all contribute to our human experience.
Mm.
So now, don't hold your love back because the love is the source of who we are. It's our natural expression of our lives, a natural expression of passion. And if you're holding it back, then you're holding back your good and you're holding back your ability to get beyond your circumstances and your illusions, your failures, your ideas that there is something wrong or missing.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you for that. I think there was a real gem of a nugget there of wisdom. Yeah.
It comes out of my own hitting myself against the wall a million times and more.
Yeah.
And learning from it and finally getting the essence of how to live life with ease.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we just make it so hard for ourselves. And almost we're setting yourself up for failure by expecting the worst and expecting it to be such a challenge, isn't it?
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
And then going down crazy roads of things that we wouldn't have to if we notice and we're able to choose more effectively with our actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not put us in ourselves into crazy circumstances or things that really aren't right for
which will then mirror back where we started,
I wonder how come we got there to begin with when we made these crazy choices.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of silly?
Yeah.
It's kind of silly, but we don't realize it, especially when we're earlier on in our lives and we haven't had enough time on the planet to realize what we're doing.
Oh.
There is something to be said for being on the planet a little longer. If we're wise enough about learning from our things that don't work.
Yeah. Well, you've to tell the tale, haven't you? You've overcome a big problem in your life. It's a physical problem, but amazing. You're actually walking now. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an incredible life that we have, and it's a matter of choosing how do you want to have it.
Make it magical, basically.
Make it a magical, make it ecstatic, make it blissful. Have it occur with ease, not suffer through everything in life.
Yeah. And don't give credence to illusions because we're perpetuating them, aren't we? Just by believing in them.
We perpetuate them. So learning that you can actually move beyond it, that it's really just a filter, it means nothing.
Yeah.
When you get that, you have the power to really move whatever you want in your life.
Yeah. So that's great. But from henceforth, I will work more purposefully. I will not work. I will align my energies so that I do things with ease and flow and follow the calling really to just be more than me, in a way, or as much of me as possible, I suppose. All heart, isn't it? And not about the worries, about the lack, about the failures, perceived failures, should we say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for you and I, since we support so many people, it's very important to be able to heal those things or clear those things for ourselves so we can be all that we can be for the others that come to us.
Yeah.
And that's true for anything that we do, whether it's a healer, teacher, a baker, anything. Doesn't make any difference what it is. When we clear ourselves, we have the power to impact thousands upon thousands of people in a lifetime.
And I think that's what people don't realize, we impact people
Yeah,
daily just by moving around in this physical world,
that's very
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And it's how we connect to the meaning within, the meaning in the higher essence of who we are, the joy and the love, isn't it? And then when it starts from there, it reaches out to others. Yeah.
And you said something very important, Esther, just now,
Yeah.
that how we experience the love, how we experience the joy is by expressing who we are fully in the world.
Mm.
You don't go out there to try to get love and joy. We already are
Or to
love.
get success, or put rather than pay. It's who we are. We are
It's
already.
already a yes. That's it. That's the essence of being human. So the only way that individually we get to experience is by fully expressing it out in the world with whatever we're doing, however we're supporting people,
Yeah.
of being of service with whatever we are providing for people.
Yeah.
And that's where we get the feeling of that connection with love, because we're providing something out of our true heart.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. I think we'll finish off there unless anybody has any questions. Obviously, you can drop them in the comments even after the live is finished, and we'll come back to them. So I just want to read out a comment from somebody on LinkedIn. This is just the message I needed to hear today, as I've not been working purposefully with intention recently due to distraction, and this is the reminder I need. So yeah, coming back to that intention, isn't it?
Thank you
How
so
we want
much for that feedback. That's wonderful. Good for you.
Yeah,
And much success with whatever you're creating.
yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Shelley. It's been a pleasure as ever. And joy to be with, and love
And
to hear
thank you.
always what you have to share.
Thank you,
I'm
Esther.
sure
It's always a
our
joy
listeners
being
do.
with you. It's always a deep, deep pleasure for me to have you in my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody, for joining us today.